Welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. So many massive topics to discuss on this morning's show. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. If this is your first time watching today, subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner, completely free to do so. And make sure to drop a like on the video. It really helps to show this channel to more people. YouTube is really annoying like that. So the more likes it gets, the more people that this video will be shown to. So go and do that if you haven't already. On the show this morning, we are going to be talking a bit about Garnacho, with reportedly a club in Europe submitting a £60 million bid. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking a bit about Marcus Rashford, with more Tier 1 journalists coming out saying that apparently Rashford has decided he will leave Manchester United in January. So lots and lots to get into. Obviously, we have got a game to react to as well on the 26th. We play Wolverhampton Wanderers away, so we'll be doing a bit of a match preview for that. As always, get involved in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on today's show. Now, the first question I've got for you today is, would you accept a £60 million bid for Garnacho? I'll get a little poll running in the live chat. So anybody who's watching the video live, obviously you can get involved in that. If you're watching the video back on repeat, you can put your answer in the comment section. Would you accept £60 million for Garnacho? Let me know your thoughts. Now, let me first of all bring you where this story's come from, because I want to bring you the source before I kind of react to it. Let me just get it up for you here. So it's coming up from multiple different people, mainly online media outlets. So you've got a couple of different UK journalists, a couple of different websites reporting this, that a secret European club are set to submit sorry, let me read that again. A secret European club are set to sign Garnacho on loan with a £60 million permanent purchase clause. So it's like a loan to buy, whatever you want to call it, where they effectively would get him till the summer and then would have to pay £60 million in the summer for him. Now, would you take £60 million for Garnacho? I mean, £60 million is a hell of a lot of money. Let's just start off by saying that. I don't think he's worth £60 million yet. The problem is, right, I was thinking about this just before I went live, and it's going to be quite an interesting theory, but I don't think Garnacho or Rashford suit Amorim's setup. I don't think they suit playing as central attacking midfielders. Remember that Ruben Amorim plays this 3-4-3, which has the front three is obviously a number 9, a striker, a left attacking midfielder, and a right attacking midfielder. And Garnacho and Rashford are effectively going to either play on the left attacking midfield or the right attacking midfield. They're not playing as wingers. They're not like they were under Ten Hag or under Ollie, where they're effectively right on the touchline. You know, they're touching the sides. They're kind of a lot more inverted. They're playing a lot more close to the striker. Now, people who suit that position based on players we already have are Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount. I think Ahmad suits it. I think probably Eriksen suits it. Kobe Mainoo probably suits it. Xerxes probably suits it. Like, those players would all suit in those positions. Would you agree? Whereas I don't honestly think that Garnacho and Rashford do. They're wingers. Their best position is playing either the left wing or the right wing. And I know people will say, oh, it's the same position. It's not. It's completely different. And I've kind of only just started to realise that in the last couple of, well, literally since I went live about 10 minutes ago. I was sat there thinking, how would Garnacho... I know Garnacho's been okay under Ruben Amorim, but it's not his best position. And I can't see him playing in the left wing-back position because he's not defensive enough. The same with Rashford. So I don't really see how they fit into this team. But what I will say is this. If Ineos do decide to sell Garnacho and Rashford, which, let's be honest, would be quite mad, yeah? That means they're fully backing Ruben Amorim. Because if Ruben Amorim goes wrong, and then this is just me playing devil's advocate here, all right? I'm not by any means saying I want the manager to be sacked before people start getting ideas. I'm just thinking forward. Say Ruben Amorim stays here for like 1 year, 2 years, right? And it doesn't work out, and then he gets sacked. What happens if you then bring in a manager who plays 4-3-3? And you've got rid of Rashford and Garnacho, who are probably our best wingers, apart from Ahmad. That's the only thing that worries me. So it's a massive gamble. If it works... If you sell Rashford and Garnacho, say 60 million for Garnacho, 20, 30 million for Rashford, that's 90 million, 100% profit. Then you go and invest that money in 2 quality central attacking midfielders. and we start climbing the table, and next thing you know, we're challenging for the title, people will look back at this moment and say, that was the best thing, that was the best bit of business we've done. That made so much sense. But imagine if it goes wrong. And obviously we don't know the answer to this, and I'm not trying to be negative. It was just what was going through my head this morning. I was thinking I would 100% agree that Garnacho and Rashford do not suit Ruben Amorim's setup. So he effectively has two options, Ruben Amorim. He either sticks with his own setup, which I think he's going to do, and if so, then sell Garnacho and Rashford. Whether you like them or not is kind of irrelevant, because I think we can all agree that both of them don't suit playing as central attacking midfielders. Their best positions are playing on the wing, and they'll be saying the same things. If we're thinking this as fans, I'm sure Rashford is sat there thinking, I don't like playing as a central attacking midfielder. I like playing out on the wing. The same with Garnacho. Garnacho's best position is playing on that left wing. And at the moment, as a left attacking midfielder, it just doesn't really work, I don't think. So it's a really, really difficult one. It's a massive gamble. It really is. Because if you get rid of these two players, right, we'll have a lot of money to invest. And again, you'll be backing a manager heavily, which is what I want to happen. But we saw Ten Hag spend £600 million over the space of 2.5 seasons. And of those £600 million, how many of them would you say are successes? Ugarte, maybe. Mazraoui. I mean, is there any others? Casemiro, no. Anthony, no. Mason Mount, no. Martinez, maybe. I think Martinez is kind of on the fence at the moment. Onana on the fence. Do you know what I mean? So they are massively rolling the dice. But what I will say is this. If Ineos decide to sell Garnacho and Rashford, right, which probably is the right decision, if they want to fully back Ruben Amorim, then they've got to stick with him. There can't be any murmurs from the fan base after 6 months if we're not winning every football match. If you sell two of your best players, yes, that Rashford's not in form and all the rest of it, but in that left wing position, Rashford probably is one of our best players, right? He is. Come on. The alternatives are Anthony. Last season we had Pellistri. We had, we don't have that many options in those positions. It's not like we've got 5 world-class wingers and I'm sat here saying that Rashford's the best. So it's a massive gamble, but I'm going to be honest with you, I'm quite up for it. I think, we've tried for so long to play this 4-3-3. It hasn't worked. Why don't let's try something different. Let's go and get 2 world-class central attacking midfielders or one, let's just try it. Why not? So I'm kind of in the camp of, I like Garnacho. I think he's absolutely quality. I think he's going to have a massive career, but I'm not convinced that he's going to have a massive career as a left attacking midfielder in a Ruben Amorim style team. I just don't see it personally. I think that if he wants to, achieve everything he can achieve, then probably moving to another club where he will just be playing as a left winger, which is his best position, is probably the best thing. And the same for Rashford. It can't just be a coincidence that Rashford suddenly wants to leave the club, And it can't just be because he got dropped in one game. I'm sure the people around him are saying, Rashford, Marcus, you're not playing in the position you want. You're playing in a position you don't know. You're 27. Go to a club where you can play as a left winger, blah, blah, blah. So, because he's obviously not going to play as the left wing back. We all know that. But it's quite an interesting one. What does everybody think? Let me know in the comment section. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you think I'm talking rubbish? Let me know what you think. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really hard one, isn't it? So at the moment, 86% of people watching the video said that they would sell Garnacho for £60 million. Nigel says that's just how life works. If it goes wrong, you tried and you can't think like that. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just saying that I don't think Garnacho and Rashford work as attacking midfielders. Would you agree? They don't, do they? I think Ahmad does, because Ahmad's got a lot more to his game than both of those players. Ahmad's got a passing ability. He's got, do you know what I mean? Like Ahmad's got way more to his game. Garnacho and Rashford's game is run down the wing and shoot. That's all they do. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. They don't cross the ball. They don't pass the ball. They don't really do much else. They don't look to bring other people into the game. Garnacho's first thought is run at the players and shoot. Rashford's first thought is run at the players and shoot. Whereas Ahmad's a baller. You know, he does everything. He's good defensively. He's good on the ball. He's skillful. He's good at passing. He brings others in. He crosses. Like, he does everything. So, yeah, it's a really weird thought that came to me this morning. And I can see why these players, you know, are being pushed out of the club. Al says Rashford and Garnacho are wingers. They aren't attacking midfielders. Yeah. Saf says we need to be careful with Garnacho. There may still be time to coach him as he's still young, but Rashford is done. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Garnacho is still very young, and he could be, merged into an attacking midfielder. But I just think that when you look at Garnacho's best traits are suited on the wing. There's not as much space in those central attacking midfield positions. In those central attacking midfield positions, you need people like Ahmad who are clever on the ball, do little passes to bring others into the game. And I don't ever see that from Rashford or Garnacho. Melchert says we should try and get Florian Wirtz. I mean, that would be absolutely unbelievable. Fred says, but they can't change, can they? I kind of agree with you, Fred, to be honest. Like, I feel like Rashford and Garnacho are very good at one particular thing, and that's being on the wing, running at players and shooting. And I just can't see how or why you would try and now merge them into a central attacking midfielder. I just don't see it. Chevy says, I've never rated Garnacho. Fair enough. Obviously, everyone's entitled to your opinion. I quite like Garnacho. I think he's decent. I don't think he's world class. I don't think he deserves the hype that he gets, but I think he's a decent player. He's better than Anthony. He's better than Pellistri and some of the other players we've had in that position. But yeah, I don't think either of those players, Garnacho or Rashford, deserve the hype that they've been given. But yeah, it's quite an interesting conversation. And when I realised this morning, I thought we do really need to gut this squad and get rid of some of the more popular players, because some of the more popular players just don't suit the system. It's as simple as that. Whether you like them or not, whether you think they're decent or not, like Garnacho and Rashford can't play as wing backs. So there isn't really a place for them in the team. And if you think of the attacking midfield positions, right, we actually have quite a lot of options in those positions now. As I said, we've got Mainu, Eriksen, Bruno, Mason Mount, Ahmad, Xerxes can play there. We've got about 6 players who can play in those central attacking midfield positions. And then obviously you've got Ugarte, who plays as the CDM. So like when you actually look at the spine of our team, right, we're crying out for another CDM because obviously Casemiro's past it. Toby Colley is not quite ready yet to be playing first team football, in my opinion. I would have Manuel Ugarte plus a new CDM alongside him, maybe Edison from Atalanta, right? In the central attacking midfield positions, at the moment, based on what we have right now, I would probably have Ahmad and Bruno, right? Wing backs, I think we need 2 wing backs, to be honest. I mean, Mazraoui maybe is right wing back, but we definitely need a left wing back. So the point I'm making is, even if Garnacho and Rashford are in form, I don't think they get in the team over Bruno and Ahmad, do they? They don't play at left wing back, they don't play at right wing back, and they don't get in over Bruno because Bruno never gets dropped. So that's that only leaves you one position left for those 2 players to play in. They're not going to play as CDMs, they're not going to play as defenders. Garnacho and Rashford are effectively fighting for one position, and that one position is a position that they don't even play, which is a central attacking midfielder or left attacking midfielder. Because Bruno's going to play every single game, whether you like it or not. Even if Bruno plays terribly, he'll still start the next game. Whether that's right or wrong is a whole conversation for another day. But, so you've got one position left, and that one position, you've got Mason Mount, Xerxes, Eriksen, Mainu, Rashford, Garnacho. You've got about 6 or 7 players all fighting to play in that left attacking midfield position. Because Bruno's always going to play as one of the attacking midfielders, always, whether you like it or not. So, yeah, it's quite a weird one, but it's a good conversation to be had. Fred says, congratulations on reaching 40,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for your support, my friend. I really, really do appreciate it. And I just want to say a big up to everybody who has been watching the channel over the last couple... Well, we've only been doing this channel about a year, so to reach 40,000 in the first year is a massive achievement. So thank you very much to everybody. If you are watching for the first time today and you're thinking, who the hell is this guy? Go and subscribe right now. Get involved. We just hit 40,000, so yeah. Let's try and be on 50,000 by this time next year. That would be a good achievement, wouldn't it? 10,000 in a year would be lovely. So yeah, big ups to all of you, and big ups to Fred and all the mods. I really, really appreciate it. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. I'm just going to have a sip of my tea whilst I read some of your comments. Glenn says, except for David Moyes and Ralph Rangnick, each manager has bought an average of 12 players. How many would you say are successful? Very few, if any. That's a fair point. Eamon says that Garnacho has an attitude problem of the future. Yeah, fair enough. I probably would. I don't know. He's just young, isn't he? Garnacho's just young. Remember what you were doing when you were 20? You know? He's just young. He's immature. Glenn says Garnacho doesn't suit 3-4-3. Somebody else says that Garnacho is good, but he is not a team player. We have some players like this in the team. Spotlight players. Yeah. Al says, I wouldn't count on Mason Mount. He is never fit. Yeah, that's a fair point. But still, you've got 6 or 7 players all now competing for one attacking midfield position. Would you not agree? As I said, Bruno's starting every game. He will start every single game, whether you like it or not. So all of those other players are all fighting for that left or right attacking midfield position. Welcome to CB Kings, who's just joined the Daily Red Devil Members Club. That's crazy how it's the one I set up for 20,000 subscribers. I need to change that, don't I? We're on 40,000 subscribers now. But thank you for your support, mate. I really appreciate that. Ruben says, Ruben is a good coach. We must make more use of the youth team. Yes. Joe says, if Garnacho is sold, it will cost the next manager around 80 million to get a similar player. The financial waste will continue. The thing you have to remember, though, Joe, right, is that if we sell Garnacho, it will be 100% profit. And how that will then work financially would be absolutely incredible for us. If we sold Garnacho for 60 and Rashford for, say, 30, right, that would be 90 million straight profit. And remember that transfers are spread over a 5-year period. So effectively, quick maths off the top of my head, if you do 90 million times 5, yeah, that would mean that we could spend 450 million pounds in the summer. Obviously, that's very rough, but the logic behind that is you get 90 million straight profit. You can spread transfers over 5 years. So 450 million pounds over 5 years would be 90 million a year. Does that make sense? So, yeah. Ruben says, I really miss Pellistri. Yeah, I didn't mind Pellistri, to be fair. Somebody else says that selling Garnacho would be stupid. The thing is, right, it all depends on what the player wants as well. You know, Garnacho might be looking at the situation and being like, I'm not being picked. When I am being picked, I'm being played out of position. Ruben Amorim's not going to change his formation. And his formation doesn't suit Garnacho or Rashford. You know? It's as simple as that. I like Garnacho, I like Rashford, but they don't currently suit the system. They don't suit the formation. So, yeah. Somebody saying that we should try and get Cunha from Wolves. CB King says, what about Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon? Yeah, I mean, there's lots of players that we're interested in. But let's move on from that and let's talk about Marcus Rashford then, shall we? Again. So this is coming out from James Ducker, who is a tier 1 journalist here in the UK, reports for The Telegraph. He's reporting that Marcus Rashford wants to leave Manchester United. I mean, this story just seems to go on and on and on and on, doesn't it? I don't really know what we do with Rashford, to be honest. I mean, there's obviously rumours that Barcelona want him. I don't really believe that, to be honest. What I would personally look to do is this. We know that PSG want to get rid of Kolo Muani. I would maybe just do a loan. So we loan them Marcus Rashford. They loan us Kolo Muani till the summer. See how he gets on. That gets rid of Rashford. It gets rid of the problem for now. It means we have another attacking player up front who can obviously play as a number 9, which is what we need. I would probably do that. You know, it's not the dream scenario, but I think it would be a decent option. I mean, Kolo Muani isn't particularly prolific at the moment, to be fair. He's got 3 goals in 14 games this season, and that's in the French League, which is obviously not the same level of the Premier League. But I don't really see what other option we have. Last season, Kolo Muani got 18 goals and assists in 44 games. Again, not particularly prolific. What's that, a goal every 3 games, roughly? Whereas the season before that, he obviously did really well. He was playing in the Bundesliga. He got 29 goals and assists in 32 games. So he definitely has the potential, doesn't he, Kolo Muani? If you look at his whole kind of career, he is a decent player. Hasn't really worked for him at PSG, but what's to say that it won't work at Manchester United? I mean, maybe it will. The alternative is that maybe we try and go back to PSG and say, you know what, we want Nuno Mendes, the left back. He's obviously out of contract in about a year's time. He apparently doesn't want to sign a new deal. We say, you know what, we'll sell you Rashford, you sell us Nuno Mendes. I don't know. Man United are going to have to be very clever here because it's clear that Marcus Rashford wants to leave, you know? So, yeah. Joe says you need to do a whole video on what this pure profit thing means. I don't get it. Yeah, of course, I'll do that at some point. It's a good idea. But in short, the pure profit thing is if a player's come through the youth academy and you've never paid a transfer fee for him, then you won't have to, well, then it'll be profit. It's the same as, you know, so Marcus Rashford and Garnacho, because think about it like this, right? Chelsea, over the last couple of years, have sold loads of their youth players. And people will say, how did they spend $1 billion in 2 windows? It was because they were selling youth players. And it allows you to spend more money a lot easier if you sell youth players. A lot of people aren't happy about this because they think the system's unfair, that effectively the financial fair play rules encourage teams to sell their youth players because it allows them to then spend more money. That's kind of the general gist of it. So I don't know the exact, you know, calculation of how much we'll be able to spend if we sold Garnacho and Rashford. But generally, if we sell Casemiro this summer for 30 million, that'll be a loss. So it doesn't really help us financially, you know, because we'll be selling him for less than what we bought him for. If we if we sell Anthony in the summer for 20 million and we bought him for 95 million, we'll lose 75 million. Which obviously then means that on Manchester United's books, we'll have a minus 75 million, which is not good. So it's kind of like that. Somebody says, I can't believe, did we buy him from Atletico? Yeah, we did buy him from Atletico, but the amount of money was so small. It's the same as anything, right? So say you buy a car for £100,000, right? A sports car. And then in a year's time, the car's worth £150,000 and you sell it. That means you'd make £50,000 profit, right? It's the same in any walk of life. So Garnacho, we paid, let's have a look. We paid €2 million for him. So if we now sell him for, say, 60 million euros, we'd make 58 million euros profit. Does that make sense? But obviously with Rashford, there was no transfer fee. So we would make 100% profit on any amount of money we sell him for. But yes. Everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and drop a like, that'd be appreciated. We're trying to hit 500 on this video. Let's see what else people are saying in the comments this morning. Nigel says, I can't believe we're still talking about selling Rashford when United have got rid of players like Keane, Stam, Beckham, Ronaldo. It's unbelievable. Rashford wants to go. Just get rid of him ASAP. It's a fair point. But the thing you have to remember is, right, the media is very, very different now as it was back then when those types of players left. And, you know, back in those days, you wouldn't have a player like Marcus Rashford or Keane or whoever coming out doing these types of interviews. Like, it just wouldn't be allowed. You know? See what else we got. A couple of people are saying that we should sell Rashford and try and buy Cunha from Wolves. It's an interesting option. I do quite like Cunha. I don't know how much he'd be worth, though. Probably quite a lot, realistically. I reckon, 40, 50 million pounds? I think we were actually interested in Cunha, weren't we, before he went to Wolves? I remember a couple of seasons ago, we were linked to him, weren't we? Before he went to... they paid 50 million euros for him, Wolves, from Atletico Madrid. So he wouldn't be cheap. And he's done very well this season. He's got 12 goals and assists in 17 games in the Premier League. I mean, that's pretty good, isn't it? For a team that are, like, absolutely awful as well. They're in the relegation zone, aren't they, Wolves? And he's got 12 goals and assists. I think our best player has got 4 goals in the Premier League, and Cunha's got double that in a team that's in the relegation zone. So, yeah, fair play to Cunha. Let's see what else we've got before I wrap up the video. People in the chat are saying that Alanga is better than Rashford. Probably at the moment, yeah. I would agree. The thing with Rashford is, right, it's not about who's better. Rashford is a good player. He just doesn't have the right attitude, the right mentality. It's as simple as that. You know? Rashford could be a 30-goal-a-season player again, like he was a couple of years ago, but he's just not in the right headspace. So, and there's nothing that Ruben Amorim can do about that, I don't think. He's tried. So, yeah. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, whatever you're doing. Don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil. Speak to you all later. Bye for now.